Where does the Peak District end and the Pennine Range begin? Well, that's quite a difficult question to answer because the two merge imperceptibly into one another. But the merging must take place around where I'm standing. This is Marsden. Marsden is located 7 miles west of Huddersfield, at the confluence of the River Colne and the Western Brook. It was formerly an important centre for the production of woolen cloth, focused at Bank Bottom Mill, which closed in 2003. Marsden hosts festivals and cultural events throughout the year. Marsden Cuckoo Day, a day-long festival held annually in spring, holds clog dancing, a duck race, music, a procession, and a cuckoo walk. The Cuckoo Day Festival is named after a local legend of the Marsden cuckoo, which goes, "Many years ago, the people of Marsden were aware that when the cuckoo arrived, so did the spring and sunshine. They tried to keep spring forever by building a tower around the cuckoo. Unfortunately, as the last stones were about to be laid, away flew the cuckoo. If only they'd built the tower one layer higher." The Marsden Jazz Festival is held every October, and the Winter Imbolic Festival, in which the triumph of the Green Man over Jack Frost is celebrated with fire juggling and giant puppets. Marsden is the home of the Micron Theatre Company, the world's only professional theatre company to tour by narrowboat. The present church of St Bartholomew was completed in 1899. The tower was built in 1911 and the parochial hall in 1924, with an extension in 1978. The church has a peal of 10 bells. Near the church, I crossed Mellor Bridge, one of 2 distinctive packhorse bridges in Marsden. The other is Close Gate Bridge, just west of the town, which I will see later on my walk. In 2010, Marsden gained Walkers Are Welcome status in recognition of its well-maintained footpaths, facilities and information for walkers and ramblers. I walked to the very southern end of Peel Street and took a footpath that climbed up towards the moors to the south of Marsden. Dominating the view to my right, I could see Bank Bottom Mill, which made Marsden wealthy in the 19th century from the production of woolen cloth. It is still home to John Edward Crowther Limited, formerly one of the largest mills in Yorkshire. The Crowthers moved to Marsden in 1876, beginning a long and profitable association with cloth manufacturing in the town. During the 1930s, Bank Bottom Mill covered an area of 14 acres, employed 680 looms, and provided employment for 1,900 workers. Production of woolen cloth at Bank Bottom Mill ceased in 2003, with a loss of 244 jobs. I stopped and had breakfast on my way here this morning. Just before I arrived here in Marsden, there's a little town called Meltham, about 2 to 3 miles from here. Now I decided to stop at the Morrisons there. I've used Morrisons before because they've got pretty good caths, cheap and cheerful, but at least you know what you're getting. You get what you pay for. I had a full English breakfast there. That was an egg, 2 sausages, 2 hash browns, beans, toast, mushrooms and 3 rashers of bacon. I had a pot of tea to go with it, which was enough for more or less 2 cups, and that came to £5.50. Not bad at all. Now I know that the hash browns were slightly on the rock hard side, but apart from that, the rest of it was absolutely fine. And you know, as I say, you get what you pay for. It's a nice breakfast, it set me up for the rest of the day, so it will keep me going on this walk, and then I won't need to eat now until tea time. Good stuff. The footpath along which I was walking soon came out onto Bin Lane, where I turned off and dropped down steeply to follow a very short section of the Colne Valley Circular Walk. Well, I think I must be standing on the most northerly part of the Peak District National Park. This dam basically forms part of the National Park boundary. So that side is the Peak National Park, that side is the Pennines. Now, really, today's walk that I'm doing is in the Pennines. Marsden Moor Estate, which surrounds Marsden to the west and south, is in the care of the National Trust. The Trust is developing new techniques to rehabilitate the moor. Marsden Moor Estate includes several reservoirs, including Butterley Reservoir. I walked to the opposite side of the reservoir to reach Netherley, a suburb of Marsden. From Old Mount Road, I followed a path taking me back into the open country of the wild moors. The high moors that surround Marsden on 3 sides are called Marsden Moor and Meltham Moor, although Saddleworth Moor is very close, which is known for the place of burial for the Moors murders. Eventually, I crossed the busy A62 to join part of the Standedge Trail. This path dropped down very steeply indeed, but the views of the open moors were fantastic. At the bottom, I follow the path along to Close Gates Bridge, the second of the two packhorse bridges around Marsden. The Standedge Trail led me onto Blakely Lane at Hay Green, where I left the trail to take another footpath to climb up towards Lower Green Owlers. After reaching Lower Green Owlers, I followed a path heading back towards Marsden. Well, I'm almost back at Marsden, but just before I arrive back there, I'm approaching something which for me is the highlight of today's walk. I drop down to Tunnel End, where both the Huddersfield Narrow Canal and the Huddersfield to Manchester Railway pass through the Standedge Tunnels, 4 parallel tunnels beneath the Pennines. 3 are railway tunnels, and the 4th is a canal tunnel. The canal tunnel is the longest and oldest of the 4, and is the longest and highest canal tunnel in the UK. It is 3¼ miles long, 194 metres underground at its deepest point, and 196 metres above sea level. All 4 tunnels are linked by cross tunnels at strategic intervals, which were constructed to allow the railway tunnels to be built quickly, as waste could be removed by boat. Of the railway tunnels, only the one built in 1894 is currently used for rail traffic. Construction of the canal tunnel commenced in 1794 and was completed in 1811. There is no towpath through the tunnel, as it is only wide enough for one narrowboat, so boats have to be legged through the tunnel, a process where 1 or 2 boatmen lie on the cargo and push against the walls of the tunnel with their legs. Depending on the weight of the cargo and the number of men involved in the work, it can take up to 4 hours to get through. The boat horses and attendants travel by road over the tunnel. The last commercial boat to use the tunnel passed through in 1921, and the canal was officially closed in 1944, after which it soon fell into disrepair. It was later the beneficiary of a £5 million restoration project as part of an effort to reopen the entire canal, and the tunnel was officially reopened in May 2001. Most modern canal boats are diesel powered. When the canal was reopened, it was felt that it would not be safe for boaters to navigate the tunnel under their own diesel power, due to the extreme length of the tunnel and the lack of ventilation. Instead, electric tugboats hauled the narrowboats through the tunnel. Over the last 5 or 6 years, boats have been allowed to travel through the tunnel under their own power with a chaperone on the boat, followed by a service vehicle through a parallel disused railway tunnel. The Standedge Tunnel Visitor Centre at the Marsden end is a base for boat trips into the tunnel and hosts an exhibition. I bet it must be brilliant going inside that canal tunnel, although if you suffer from claustrophobia it might be a bit of a problem, and with that in mind I know I couldn't go inside. I was near the end of my walk, so I followed the canal towpath from Tunnel End back to Marsden. Well, it's been an absolutely fantastic day here in Marsden. It really has. I think I've only actually been here 2 times before now, and they were only brief visits. I've never actually walked around the area like I've done today, and it's been really nice. I'm having to raise my voice a little bit here because there's quite a lively crowd behind me, all sitting outside the railway inn. Maybe that's a sign that I need to go and join them.